Hello, you're watching TVP World News. I'm Jonasz Lewicki. Ukrainian drones allegedly hit the Syzran Oil Refinery in Russia's Samara region on Saturday night. Images and videos shared online by local residents appear to show the refinery engulfed in flames, with thick black smoke billowing into the air. The facility is situated in the city of Syzran, over 800 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, and is capable of processing around 9 million tons of crude oil annually. The refinery reportedly supplies fuel to the Russian Air Force and to military forces operating in central and southern Russia. It also exports petroleum products through the Volga River and the Caspian Sea. Recently, Ukraine has been successfully targeting fuel storage sites and major refining facilities of Russia's oil infrastructure, putting pressure on the Kremlin by aggravating a domestic fuel supply crisis that had already caused export bans, price hikes, and sales restrictions across Russia. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham has died following a brief and sudden illness, his office confirmed early on Sunday morning. The 71-year-old senator was fresh off a trip to Kyiv, Ukraine, where he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Friday. The senator's death comes after Friday's visit in Kyiv, during which Graham announced an agreement with the Trump administration to go ahead with a new Russia sanctions package. Graham was a vocal Ukraine ally and in 2025 received the Order of Yaroslav the Wise from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in recognition of his significant personal contributions to supporting state sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. Lindsey Graham was one of the most recognizable faces of the Senate, known for his distinct, thick South Carolina drawl and folksy mannerisms which he used to deliver political punchlines. A staunch supporter of Israel, Graham was criticized by his opponents as a warmonger due to his hardline advocacy for military intervention in foreign conflicts. Initially Donald Trump's rival and harsh critic during the 2016 Republican primary, Graham became the president's staunch ally after meeting Trump in 2017. Polish and Ukrainian officials gathered on Saturday to pay tribute to the victims of the Volhynia massacre. 83 years ago, Ukrainian nationalists attacked ethnic Poles in more than 100 towns and settlements at the peak of a massive ethnic cleansing operation, with the tragic events of that day later becoming known as the Bloody Sunday. Our correspondent Piotr Kuchma was following the commemorative events and has this report.
This is Ołyka, a small town in Ukraine's Volhynia region. For many Poles, it's a place of remembrance. Every year, Polish delegations come here to honor the victims of the 1943 Volhynia massacre, when around 100,000 Polish civilians were killed in an act of ethnic cleansing carried out by the UPA. Commemorations were also held across the border in Poland. In Warsaw, Prime Minister Donald Tusk announced the creation of a wall of remembrance bearing the names of all identified victims of the wars fought on the territory of Ukraine during the 20th century, including the victims of the Volhynia massacre.
Their families have waited over 80 years for this. We want to preserve the memory of each of them by name. That is why a memorial wall with an eternal flame and the names of every recovered and identified victim will be erected in Warsaw.
Tensions escalated after President Volodymyr Zelenskyy granted one of Ukraine's military units the honorary name Heroes of the UPA. For many Ukrainians, the UPA symbolizes the struggle against Soviet rule. In Poland, however, it's primarily associated with the massacres of Polish civilians.
Today, we are not accusing the entire Ukrainian nation, but we are accusing Bandera's ideology, those who committed murder, but also those who invoked the colors of red and black in the 21st century. This is simply unacceptable, because praising genocide or turning a blind eye to it is an invitation for further genocides to happen.
The row has also reached the European Parliament. On Wednesday, EU lawmakers adopted a resolution on Ukraine's EU accession process, expressing regret over what it described as the unnecessary and unprovoked escalation triggered by President Volodymyr Zelensky's decision to name an elite military unit Heroes of the UPA. Here in Ołyka, Poland's defense minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz also commented on the dispute.
Truth, remembrance and reconciliation. This is the path to the European Union. Ukraine's road to the EU leads through these values.
Just behind this cemetery stands the Radziwiłł castle, where thousands of Polish civilians sought shelter during the Volhynia massacre in 1943. Today the castle and the cemetery are cared for by local Ukrainian residents. Here's what they told me.
It's hard for us all because it was passed down to us by our parents, but in general, Poles have always offered us help. We're of Polish descent, and Poles are always there to lend a helping hand. We've always believed that we are one people, that Poles and Ukrainians are one. For us, this is all very, very painful, both on the Polish side and on the Ukrainian side, and we never draw a distinction between Poles and Ukrainians.
Despite one of the darkest chapters in the history of relations between the two nations continuing to shape politics today, ceremonies like this reveal another reality. Here in Ołyka, Poles and Ukrainians stand side by side to remember the victims of the Volhynia massacre, hoping remembrance can help build understanding rather than deepen divisions. Reporting from Ołyka in Ukraine's Volhynia region, I'm Piotr Kućma, TVP World.
The United States launched strikes against Iran for the third time this week overnight after accusing Tehran of attacking a Cyprus-flagged vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran fired back, targeting U.S. allies in the region in the early hours of Sunday morning.
Iran claimed responsibility for attacks on Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Qatar and Oman, while the UAE also reported incoming aerial objects. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it carried out a heavy attack on logistics support centers and refueling platforms used by U.S. aircraft carriers at the port of Duqm in Oman. According to a statement released by the U.S. Central Command, American attacks hit 140 military targets across Iran. Iranian state media reported explosions in several port cities. CENTCOM also claims that transit via the Hormuz Strait continues unimpeded, despite Tehran's announcement of its closure.
Wildfires in Spain have claimed the lives of at least 12 people, including tourists. Over 24 more are still missing.
Wildfires are burning through thousands of acres across southern Europe, transforming parts of Spain, France, and Greece into scorched wastelands. 12 people, including 4 British nationals, were killed on Saturday, with another 23 reported missing after a wildfire tore through a village in southern Spain's Almeria province.
It was really awful, really awful. Gas cylinders exploding everything, houses on fire, windows shattering. There are witnesses who are trapped in a large villa in the middle of a pine forest, and they got away by the skin of their teeth.
Temperatures across parts of Spain have soared as high as 44 degrees Celsius this week, generating the perfect conditions for wildfires.
The area affected here consists mainly of pine forests, but there are also large areas of scrubland, low woodland, and esparto grass, which is very typical of Almeria. All of this is dry as a result of the heat waves we've had, and it's perfect fuel which, combined with the wind, becomes a ticking time bomb when it comes to fires.
The latest heat wave is Europe's third this summer season and comes after Western Europe experienced its hottest June on record for the second year in a row. But global warming isn't just affecting the western part of the continent.
Even in Poland, we observe more days with temperatures equal or greater than the 30 degrees Celsius, and with tropical nights.
Climate change, exacerbated by human activity, has made heat waves more frequent and intense.
Everything what is happening and all natural phenomena, they are actually being strengthened by climate change. We are putting more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
And as the world's fastest warming continent, summers like these could become the new normal for Europe. Maciej Wilowski for TVP World.
Thousands of Norwegians who gathered to watch the national team face England in the World Cup quarterfinals on Saturday night honoured the team with a Viking row outside the Royal Palace in Oslo in the early hours of Sunday morning. Norway lost 2-1 in extra time, but their first appearance at the World Cup in 28 years captured hearts and minds both at home and abroad. Every July, Warsaw enters a period of intense romance with the seasonal bilberry pastry known as the jagodzianka. Long lines and record-breaking prices at local bakeries now define the start of the summer holidays in the capital.
Summer in Warsaw has a distinct purple hue as the city succumbs to its annual obsession with the jagodzianka. We went to find out why these wild bilberry buns hold such a powerful grip on the Polish psyche. The obsession begins in the dense forest, where wild European bilberries are still harvested by hand. Unlike large, cultivated blueberries, these tiny forest berries offer a deep ink-like color and intense acidity. The result? A soft, yeast-enriched bun packed with wild European bilberries, called jagodzianka. For many Poles, the first bite of a jagodzianka signals the true start of the summer holidays. The jagodzianka is an emblem of Polish summer, an affordable childhood snack for many. But the fruits themselves require intensive manual labor to harvest, a task no machine can replicate and one which garners little glory. Fast forward to 2026 and social media has transformed this treat into a luxury item. Due to influencers like Michał Korkosz and many others, what once cost around $4 can now fetch prices as high as nearly $20. A single premium bun can now cost nearly $15, transforming what was once a cheap, everyday treat into a seasonal luxury. Modern Warsaw foodies now treat the bun as a high-stakes technical challenge for local bakers. Anna and Seaver from New Jersey tried their first jagodzianka ever, on camera.
It was a lot more berries than I expected, and I think it gave that perfect, like, sweet tarty sensation. Yet the outer pastry has, like, the sweet sugar, the crumb, so it's delicious.
Nearby, a cafe in the Old Town attracts massive morning crowds. For tourists especially, pastry shops in this part of town can be the most exciting.
Every year I have to have at least one, but usually more. And we sometimes do a survey and try them in different places and see which ones are the best.
This favorite pastry even featured in a Polish hip-hop song by Malik Montana and Mr. Polska in 2019. Across the Vistula River in Warsaw's gritty Praga district, the hunt for the bilberry buns is no less competitive, with many cafes competing to attract the most trend seekers. Whether it is a nostalgic childhood memory or a modern status symbol, the hunt for the perfect bun continues. In a rapidly changing city, the jagodzianka is a fleeting, purple-stained constant of the Polish summer. From Warsaw, for TVP World, Randy Potts.
And with this, we conclude our news bulletin here on TVP World, but please do stay with us for more latest news updates and commentary.